Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. This is Paranormal Frequencies. I'm Shane.
I'm Sherry.
Oh gosh, I was so close on that mute button. Okay. And yeah, this show is going to be extra long because we want to start it with having this documentary from goforitRANDY because it's so awesome and it has so many images in it. And then after this documentary airs, we're going to have goforitRANDY on here with us, and we're going to discuss this stuff while we look at some more images. Is that all good? Am I forgetting anything? It's all good. Okay, so we'll be with you guys in the chat. And, all right, so without further ado, let's watch this. This is some awesome stuff here.
Look at that. What the heck is that? Oh my God. Look at that. That was rather anomalous there. Saw that with my own eyes there. Look at that. There's two orbs. I'm trying to get them both in the picture. It's hard to do it.
Those are high frequency waves, more than likely.
You can see them perfectly lined up. Look at this. They're in a line.
And then the kids are in out of the newsroom. Those pesky Phoenix lights are back again.
That's right, Mike. We got dozens of calls in the newsroom. Hundreds of people could have seen these lights tonight, maybe even more. And some say they were over downtown Phoenix. Others say they may have been in the far southwest valley. But regardless of all that, we got the pictures to show you. There they were, about 9 o'clock Monday night. 7 lights hanging in the sky. But Randy Clark says there were more.
What I saw was actually even maybe another 2 or 3 more lights at least that are either hidden behind some of these other lights or whatever. But I counted at least 10 lights last night. I happened to see the Phoenix Light documentary earlier this year, so it was instantly I recognized, okay, those are the Phoenix Lights. What are they doing up in the sky again?
For the last 5 years, I've had interdimensional beings following me everywhere I go, 24 hours a day. I've captured close to 500,000 to 1 million interdimensional beings on camera in just the last 5 years. I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the most famous people in ufology today. I've been on an unstoppable quest to find out who these beings are and where they come from. I want one thing to be monumentally clear, that we are not alone on Earth. For thousands of years, the ancient text has talked about a time where great change would take place here on Earth, where things that are unseen would become seen to humans on Earth, where things from another dimension would start to manifest themselves in our reality, things that we can't even begin to possibly imagine, things that come from somewhere else, not from here. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that this is the time that we're living in right now in 2018, because for 30 years I've literally been seeing interdimensional beings and filming them. And to date, I've filmed close to 1 million interdimensional beings. This appears to be some kind of a translucent plasma energy field of some kind of being, a craft, I'm not sure. But you clearly see a telephone pole there to the left. This thing is as tall as a telephone pole. Now this part is speeded up, so let's listen to this in real time with Victor.
Beautiful shape, look at it.
This thing appears to be like 15 or 20 feet across. So what is this thing? Now look closely at the detail around the edges of this entity or object, whatever this thing is. You clearly can see very intricate, very detailed, ornate curves and lines that are intersecting and crossing there around the edges. You see those arcs there? Look around the edge there. Well, you'll clearly see an advanced intelligence was involved in creating that. You can clearly see the morphing that's going on around the whole edge there. As you look around the edge, look at how those edges morph as this whole thing, this whole energy being appears to be traveling into the light. So very unusual to capture this on camera. I've seen this before. Something very strange is taking place on Earth right now in 2018. This is a very unique interdimensional being that came into our dimension here on Earth. As you can see, this golden line that's going across the pond there, and then it goes up over the boulders and up into the sky about 10 feet in the air. And at the end of this, like golden cord, is this light that explodes at the end. Well, could this golden cord actually be a wormhole? And could this light be some kind of an interdimensional traveler that's coming through the dimensions? And it's traveling through this wormhole, and then for whatever reason comes out the end of the wormhole right there, exits the wormhole right in our reality right here to say hi to me? I don't know. All I can tell you is, ladies and gentlemen, is that I've had the ability to take photographs and video of interdimensional beings now for a long time, for many years. And I can tell you one thing, these beings are very real, and they're coming here from another dimension for a reason. And I don't know what this thing would be leaving some kind of a light trail behind it like this, unless it wanted me to capture this on film, because this has only happened one time out of 20,000 photographs of interdimensional beings that I've captured on camera. This comes from my good friend Stephen Criddle over in the UK, and you clearly can see what appears to be some kind of a light being that is traveling from another dimension into our reality here. And this is supernatural travel, ladies and gentlemen. You don't go through walls unless you have the ability to teleport yourself through the wall. These are light beings, or non-physical beings, or beings that are from another dimension that appear to be an etheric light being. But some of these appear to be maybe solid. Look at this one, because it leaves a shadow on the wall. See that? It's leaving a shadow on the wall over there. So is this a fairy or a rod of some kind? Or is this some kind of an interdimensional robot of some kind? Can you imagine? What if these beings are traveling into our dimension to check up on us? Because I am one of the first people to tell you that I've not had 1 second to myself for the last 5 years. That I know for a fact, because for the last 5 years I've been documenting the interdimensional beings that are around me, and they're around me 24 hours a day. So I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone on Earth. Now, I took this photograph about 5 years ago in 2013. This is, without question, one of the most amazing interdimensional photographs that I've ever taken. And again, I've got about 20,000 interdimensional photographs so far in just the last 5 years. If you look inside here, there is like this glass dome structure here, and inside there is some kind of a being or beings, multiple beings or something, that are looking out of what looks like a glass portal or window of some kind at me. And this is above my patio. This is about 30 feet off the ground above my patio. And this was a very special moment. This was 5 years ago again. And on this night was the very first time 1,000 orbs came by to visit. So something very special happened that night. I got healed. I had a back problem. This is very important. Whatever this is inside here, you can see this dome structure here, and you can see it's attached to this flat portion here on the left. So there's this flat surface edge, and then you have this like dome-like glass structure above it. And inside this dome structure at the top there, you'll see these white like little tiny lights inside the dome part of the structure, and then around on the inside portion of that dome, you'll see a flange. So this is very intricate design here. This is an interdimensional craft, I believe. Some kind of an interdimensional UFO, or maybe it could be a portal of some kind. It could be some kind of a being of some kind as well, an interdimensional being. When I say we are not alone on Earth, I literally mean we are not alone on Earth. This is a photograph of me on the patio. And literally behind me is thousands of interdimensional beings that are flying around in the sky behind me. Those are not stars. Those are interdimensional beings. And this has been taking place in my life rock solid for the last 5 years. 365 days a year. I'm being visited by interdimensional beings just like this.
These are orbs. This happens every night, but right now at around 3 o'clock they get real busy. And this is a camera facing the back corner of the house, but facing the sky. You can't see them with the eye, but you can see them on the camera. And this is the fence in between the house. This is where they're traveling. When I first seen them, this is where I seen them going. I seen a lot of them. And I thought it was rain, but it's not rain. This is another camera in the back of the house facing the sky. I don't know what they are. I think they're orbs. They're called orbs. There's some kind of light, but you can't see them. They're not here. They're in this part, but tonight they're all over the yard. I don't know why. They're usually not. Maybe they know they're on camera. Someone said they were bugs. This is September. There's no bugs. And it's not raining. And they change direction, and they go fast, they go slow, but there's millions of them. They're never really on this side of the house, but for some reason tonight they're on this side of the house. But this is in between the fence leading to the back. And this is like a path they go. But look at them. This is real. This is no hoax. There's no way I could make this stuff happen. And this is the other cameras. That's me. filming it right now. So in case people don't think this is real, this is me, I'm waving.
Now, most people who know me know that the orbs come to visit me at my house where I'm at, on the patio here and wherever I'm at. But when I'm on the road, you'll notice here the white lines there in the center of the road there, and then the white line off to the right over there on the side of the road there. And then in the center of the lane here, what's that white line that goes up into the sky? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. I'm traveling at 55 miles an hour. This orb is traveling at about 100 plus miles an hour ahead of my car, leading the way down the road. You can see the orb at the end of what looks like another one of those interdimensional wormholes. Or is it some kind of an etheric energy cord? Are we all connected? Literally? Is this the connection that interdimensional beings have, and as well maybe even humans have a connection like this to our creator? Is that possible? This could be very well showing us the true reality that we live in. I know this for a fact. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. These things fly down the road everywhere I go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most amazing videos ever taken. This is not what you think it is. Those look like they're little moths flying around, or some kind of bugs with wings that are flying around in my friend Michelle Brakeman's backyard. But that is not what you're looking at here. What you're looking at here are interdimensional beings. And for those of you who think that these are not interdimensional beings, I have a surprise for you. All of these interdimensional beings are going to teleport right through the hexagon-shaped concrete patio floor in the backyard in just a moment. So hang around. Look at these things. They're walking around on the ground in the grass there. They're climbing around all this Adirondack chair. They're bumping into the chair and bouncing off the chair. See that one bouncing off? What is going on here? This is like a frenzy of like hundreds of these interdimensional, whatever these are, miniature little beings of some kind, creatures from another dimension, from somewhere else, that are here inside our dimension here on Earth. So these things are getting a little bored here on Earth, and it's time to go wherever they go to, into another dimension. So ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the teleportation, because it is about to happen right now. They're going to go from where they are right here. They're going to go over to the right side of the patio over here, and then they're going to go right through the concrete patio right now. Watch as every one of them go right through the hexagon-shaped patio there. This is mind-blowing video footage, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you thought you were living on an Earth that was boring, that didn't have any kind of interesting things going on, wake up, because we live on a very interesting Earth that has interdimensional beings that can teleport right through solid concrete. Over the years, people have asked me, Randy, what's it like to take photographs of orbs? Well, this is what it's like. I literally have thousands of interdimensional orbs flying around me, and they're hovering in front of the camera, they're moving off to the side, they're going in all different directions, so there's no kind of formal way that they literally come into the scene or come from another dimension. They literally are just flying around like in some kind of random, almost like a school of fish, to be honest with you, but they're in the sky. So this is what it looks like in terms of what it's like to actually be in the field as a field researcher, researching orbs and interdimensional beings. I have them around me every single day, 365 days a year. Now, something last year happened. My dog Mandy died, and the day that my dog died, literally thousands of orbs came to welcome me and let me know that everything's cool. And that Mandy's up in a good place, but literally thousands of orbs followed me over to my girlfriend's apartment, And literally, I was blown away, because normally when I go over there, there's, you know, maybe 100, 200 orbs when I take photographs, but literally thousands of them followed me because they knew that, you know, I was hurting that day. But this is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. There's literally just thousands and thousands of orbs, and most people would walk down a street like this and never think twice about it. I met David Hatcher Childress from Ancient Aliens TV program, and he literally didn't know much about interdimensional beings, but he said, you know what, I want to believe. And I said, well, stick around, let me show you some evidence. And I took some photographs, and right there in real time, in the middle of the day, I was able to have orbs show up. Right there next to my necklace, just to the right of my necklace, you're going to see a green orb. And then just to the right of that is another orb, and then up closer to on my shoulder there, where David is, there's another orb right there.
Any other orbs hanging out? You want to say hello? Maybe do a close. That was really cool. I'm gonna say, you want to do a close-up? Oh, cool. Can you do that again? Excuse me. I just saw this flash right here. I know it's an old argument. People say, oh, you filmed dust. I just tried to film some dust and it wouldn't even show up. But the orbs show up, and they do. You guys do crazy, fast maneuvers. That, you know, I don't believe it. Whoa! What was that?
Now, just to the left of this 30-foot tall tree, you're going to see what looks like an interdimensional flying snake. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's very possible there's some kind of serpent beings that are interdimensional and they can fly through the air. You'll see one to the left of this that looks like it's further away, that's much thinner than this one, but clearly there's something in the sky, and judging by the size of the tree and everything, I would estimate the length at about 2 to 3 feet maybe. But this is real, and I've taken several photographs of these. I took this one in 2018, this year, just a few months ago. A top fuel dragster does a 1/4 mile in 8 seconds. This thing did it in half of that time, going uphill at a 45-degree angle in the air.
That is another orb, and that's another orb, and that's another orb, and there are orbs everywhere. You can clearly see they all look like they have like an eyeball in the center of them, much like this one up at the top here. Every single one of them has that eyeball look. That's how you know what a real, true orb looks like. Well, not all orbs are that way, but the true orbs that I'm filming, they all have eyeballs just like this one. So anytime you see an orb, now you can look at them. If you get a chance, if you can see them, you get a chance to look at them in a little different perspective, you'll get a chance to see them. Now, look at all of these over here in the corner here. They're hovering up in the upper corner. And again, each one of them have that little eyeball in the center. Because again, I believe that's how they're watching me. And again, each one of those little specks is an orb. There's orbs, they're tiny, up to, I don't know how big they can get. I know I've seen them beach ball size and bigger than that. But as you can see, even up by the fan, there they are up there by the fan. But if that isn't bad enough, not only are they in the house, but as you're going to see, they're outside the house as well. All right. Welcome to goforitRANDY's world, man, because my life is not the ordinary life, I got to tell you. Now, take a look outside my windows, because at my house, outside the windows, are interdimensional beings that are looking back at you. Now, again, you know what an orb looks like now. Now you know. That orb is outside the house, on the outside of the window, looking in. And there's not just one, there's a whole bunch of them. And here you can see, as you go across the window here, look at all these guys hanging outside. They didn't get the e-ticket pass, the indoor pass, inside the house. for whatever reason. I don't know, because they can just come right through that glass. I mean, if you think that window's holding them back, no, they'll come right through that window and right through those blinds like they're nothing.
Now, this is my friend Michelle Brakeman, and she's making a fire here. But while she's making a fire, something happens. See that white object kind of flying around her head there? Well, that's an interdimensional being of some kind. I don't know if it's some kind of like a fish or something, but it's flying through the air, kind of like a fish. And then it comes right through her ear, right there, and it comes down by her shorts and her legs there. Then it goes across the fire and out of sight. But here it is, flying around her head there. And you can see it. It's just like a fish swimming through the air, and it goes on the other side of her head there, and it just flies around a few times, and then one of the times it decides to go right through Michelle's head, right there. I believe it's coming through. Let me tell you when it comes through the ear. Right, let me see, right there. There it is, coming down her arm and down by her leg down there. So amazing to capture this on video. Not amazing to find out that there are interdimensional beings that are going through our bodies. What are they doing to our body? I don't know. But I know I've had interdimensional beings go through my body. I've seen it on film. Now, this is the same kind of interdimensional being that Michelle had when she was making the fire. This is my friend Arthur, and this is inside his house. You can clearly see one of these interdimensional beings flying through his house like a fish, and it's making S-turns. It's actually following an orb that comes through the wall right there. See that? An orb comes through the wall right there, and this fish thing just flies right after it.
Come this way. To the screen. Come on. Wow. Christmas. They're coming from everywhere. Bit of cheer in it. And what it'll be like in a couple of weeks, eh? 2 points of Christmas, take the edge off. 12 today. Relax. A blizzard. Come on, Obies, like a blizzard.
What if the world that you thought you were living in was nothing like you thought it was? Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is goforitRANDY, and what you're looking at are elementals going through solid stone. That's right. See this one coming around here? Watch this circle here. Right in that circle there, you're going to notice this little elemental cruising around and going right through this solid rock stepping stone. Yeah, you heard me, ladies and gentlemen. Look in the center of that circle there where this little being goes through. Watch, right there, right through the solid rock. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I have your attention. Interdimensional beings are very real. And what you're looking at here is a whole bunch of little tiny little beings. Now up in the left-hand corner, you're going to see one of these little elementals. See that white thing going across that stepping stone in the top left corner? Well, guess what? Look at it, it's going through the vegetation here. Look at it, it's going right through the leaves. Not walking on the leaves, it's going through the leaves. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, these are etheric beings that are light beings that are, watch the way it goes through this grass. Check this out. Look at it, it's hauling through the grass right there. I mean, that is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, look at all the undulations there in the grass that this has to traverse through just to get through that grass. So if that was a cockroach, that would have probably taken a minute or 2 minutes for it to travel that far across the grass. Look at how effortlessly it travels. Now, it goes underneath this bench right here, and then it comes out from underneath the bench here in just a moment, and it starts traveling across the yard. There it is right there. Now, you clearly can see that it's flying, ladies and gentlemen. It's not an interdimensional cockroach. It can fly. And look at it. It went almost over, it went about 2 stepping stones over from where it started. So it's literally about 20-25 feet away from the camera right now, and it goes off camera for just briefly. and we'll catch it in just a moment. But you can clearly see this thing is flying across Jill's yard. I mean, it looks like a jungle in her backyard, but these beings are absolutely from another dimension, or they're in some other frequency or something. Now there's another being here that's going across the tiles, flying across about a foot off the ground up in the center kind of left that you're going to see here. Let's take a look at this being here as it flies across there. So let's watch it. See how it comes across there towards the green arrow there? It looks like a rod. And then all of a sudden it gets to the other end of this stone and it literally stops on a dime right there. Literally stops, then backs up, touches the stone, and then takes off like a rocket again, or commonly what looks like a rod. So ladies and gentlemen, we live in a spiritual realm. And these elementals are flying around in our space here, in our airspace, in some other dimension or some other frequency. I'm not sure exactly how this all works. All I can tell you is this is very real. And what you're looking at are beings that can travel across solid objects when they want to, with no problem. And then on other occasions, if they want to travel through solid objects, like right here, they have no problem traveling through solid rock. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope I have your attention. These elementals are light beings that can travel through solid walls and solid rock. So this is a different portion of the property here where my good friend Jill lives. She is one of the most amazing elemental photographers and videographers on Earth today. She has captured some of the most amazing elemental beings on video, like what you're looking at right here, ladies and gentlemen. All of those are elementals flying around the umbrella over there on the patio. And they're just flying around and, you know, having fun. I assume they're just playing in the backyard. I mean, if you look at the backyard here, you'll notice it's quite a little, you know, wonderland of plants and amazing flowers and all kinds of trees and so forth and vegetation. So this is like the perfect environment for elementals and fairies and things like that. Nature spirits. If they're, you know, we don't know 100% what these beings are, you know. We're just going by the folklore, the myths, the legends that have been kicked down from other people who know what they know. So what we're showing you here is literally Jill's backyard filled with elementals from another dimension. Okay, so what I did here was I zoomed in so you can get a really good look at them up close. And if you'll notice, they don't look like anything you've ever seen before. They literally kind of look like a rod when they're flying fast. And then when they're stopping, they're kind of hovering there. And you can see there's like this energy field around each and every one of these beings. They literally have like this etheric energy or some kind of plasma energy or something. I'm not exactly sure the scientific nature of this. But you can clearly see they look like rods when they're moving fast. And then when they're stopped, they tend to just like float, okay? They're not fluttering their wings like they're falling to the ground. It's almost as if they're etheric and in some other realm and just like floating right there. So this is what they look like up close, and you clearly can see they are not like anything you've ever seen before. And, you know, when was the last time you saw a bunch of beings like this, unless you were over at Michelle Brakeman's house or something, because she has these kind of beings in her house in the backyard all the time. But most people have never seen anything like this. So this is something that people need to be aware of. We live in a spiritual realm here on Earth. And the sooner people realize this, the sooner they realize that there are beings that are in another dimension or in some other frequency that are right here alongside us, right here on Earth. Okay, now look in the lower right hand corner in that circle there. You're going to see a little elemental come flying out of the grass there. And here is a zoomed in version of it. There it is going up right there to the right. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's elementals in the backyard all the time. Check this one out as it goes up the wall where the bricks are there. Check that out. It literally goes vertical, okay? So it's literally going straight up. Watch it as it goes up the wall this time. It's literally going straight up. And I have a photograph right there. See that? I have a photograph that looks exactly like that being. I've taken photographs of them for many years, and I always thought they were interdimensional fairies, but I never could verify it in any way because they're photographs. But here's video footage that's showing these beings flying around on video. So this just verifies what I already knew for about 4 years now. Okay, now look in the lower right-hand corner. You can clearly see this being flying right there. See that? Look at him. It's literally some kind of an interdimensional being that is somehow able to cloaking itself or somehow, look at that, it's going invisible right there in front of your very eyes. You can see that it looks like it has 2 legs hanging down there, and partial legs are just like disappearing, and then the whole thing disappears and then comes back on screen like that. So I don't know what's going on here, but everything is in focus. I know there's going to be camera people that are going to say, oh, this is some kind of camera anomaly. Man, maybe if you just set the f-stop on 423 or something, maybe it wouldn't do that. Here's the piece de resistance. This is the best fairy that the light fairy that I've ever seen before, and I wanted to share this with you because this is Jill in the backyard sneaking up on it. And in real time, you're going to get to see this for the very first time in real time, what this looks like when it comes in. There it is right there. Okay, see that? Okay, now I know that didn't seem like much, but when we slow this down, take a look at this being as it flies in from another dimension. Here it comes in right now. There it is right there. It's coming by there. Now watch as it goes up to this pole, and it looks like it pushes right off of that pole over there, like it has 2 legs dangling down there. And then it goes over by the window, comes back over by the pole over here. And then there's some things that that are very unusual. Watch what happens after this. This is where it's unique. Goes kind of through that pole or just by it. But it goes in the bushes here. Now it's going to go over to this red bush. See that red bush in the center there? It's going to go right through the bush. Watch this. Right through the bush. Right there. Come out the other side. Then it's going to continue on its path over to the left. Watch it go through this bush, ladies and gentlemen. You can see this is a little fairy being going through the bush. Look at that. It's gone. Now there it is. It comes out the other side. Welcome to the wonderful world of goforitRANDY. I'll be your host tonight for this little adventure into the interdimensional realm that we have here on Earth that is filled with interdimensional beings. As you clearly can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you have eyes to see, then you can clearly see what's on the screen right now. This is coming from a good friend of mine named Mike, who has a security cam hooked up to the outside of his house, and he clearly has the most amazing orb video footage that I've seen on planet Earth outdoors. He has some of the most amazing footage, as you clearly can see, right in front of his house. Now, he says there's a lot of orbs that are coming from a tree that's located on his property. And as you can see, they're going over to his property right now to the left. But he says a lot of these orbs are coming out of this tree. And he doesn't know what's going on. Is there some kind of portal there? Or is there some kind of portal in the area? Not really sure. But what I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a shift taking place here on Earth. And it's been taking place for a long time. And you clearly can see, ladies and gentlemen, for years, ladies and gentlemen, people ask me, Randy, why didn't you show us the video footage of all these photographs you're taking with thousands of orbs? We're not really sure those are really orbs and they can fly around. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these are orbs flying around here, and I can tell you they can fly, and they can be captured on video, and they can be captured on video doing amazing things while they're flying around like they are right here. Look at that. All of these coming right up to the camera like that. Okay, that shows intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. These beings are not just balls of light floating around. They're literally intelligent, okay? They have advanced technology that we certainly don't have. I mean, we don't have the ability to walk through walls, but these beings literally can go through walls. Look at them coming right up to the camera.
Go For It Randy. We're here live at the UFO conference in Arizona 2015. I'm here with Travis Walton. This is a superstar in ufology. Fire in the Sky was the movie. Is that right, Travis?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And tell me, what is your story? Is it a positive experience or negative experience
Well,
with the ETs?
right in the immediate aftermath, I interpreted it pretty negatively. It was pretty traumatic at the time. But over the years, I've come to realize that there, was a far less malevolent element there than I had ever guessed.
Okay. I've had nothing but a positive experience myself. I've had nothing but positive experiences for a year and a half. Have you had any positive experiences, or has there been malevolent experiences only?
Oh, no. I would say, that it's my present interpretation of things as being benevolent is far more accurate than what my initial impression.
Now this photograph is one of my best orb photographs. Clearly you can see a pink orb there in the center, but thousands of orbs showed up in the Sonoran Desert here in Arizona. Here's another photograph of me that's really bizarre. So I don't know, but I believe that somehow interdimensionally we can be messed with, either on a physical level or on the level of the camera. And I'm not sure, but my face is missing, all of my long hair is missing, and my left arm is about half the size of my right arm. So something strange going on there. Now this photograph is gigantic. Okay, whatever that is in the sky there, ladies and gentlemen, that big white object, that is some kind of a gigantic either portal or some kind of a gigantic interdimensional being of some kind. Could this be a dragon? Because it looks to me kind of like this huge like serpent-like face with horns on it. Looks like a neck kind of coming down there. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. All I can tell you is I was supernaturally contacted with this one. It doesn't happen very often, but I literally got an internal message, hey Randy, grab your camera, go outside, and this is what was waiting for me when I got outside. So this is behind the neighborhood where I live here, and I can tell you right now that thing has to be a mile high in the air, somewhere in that vicinity, and it goes up even higher than that. So ladies and gentlemen, we are not alone on Earth. There are giants here on Earth. Here's another giant just off my patio. You see that giant face there on the left side there, that big white thing with big lips on it? That's a giant. You can't even see the whole face. So this was the very first one that I saw. This was in 2014. This one literally scared me a little bit. I went back inside the house after seeing this because I saw this with my naked eyes, and I was just absolutely blown away. Now this is another unbelievable giant that showed up out at the pool. You clearly can see a giant dark being above the pool here. If you look off to the left there, it looks like a serpent being that's coming in, and this is just a gigantic face here just on the other side of the fence there. This thing is no more than about 30 feet away from me, and it appears to be about 3-4 stories off the ground. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you there is a good side and a dark side. This is the dark side, I believe, because this was, I want to go into the details. It's a long story, but I can tell you this is not smoke. There's been people who have said this is smoke. This is not smoke. This is an interdimensional, gigantic being that wanted to threaten me and get in my face. And in his presence, he showed me that he was here, and it was one of the most incredible moments of my life because it changed everything. Because up until that time, I thought it was all fairies and angels and just have a fun time, until one day I ran into this being here. Because I believe this is a fallen angel, or some kind of a Nephilim, or this could be a dragon, or it could even be Lucifer, Satan. I don't know. The list is long of who this actually is. But what I'm here to tell you is, ladies and gentlemen, this is 1000% real. I was in the presence of a giant, and I've been in the presence of many giants who have shown their faces to me. I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening. All I can tell you is I think I was put on Earth for a reason, and that was to share the interdimensional beings and the interdimensional shift that is taking place on Earth, because people don't know about this. They have no idea that there are giants walking around on Earth. They have no idea that there are literally millions, maybe even billions of interdimensional beings here on Earth today in 2018. ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've liked this documentary, and I hope you'll stop by YouTube someday and check out my YouTube channel at goforitRANDY, because I have been documenting this for 30 years, and I wanted the public to know that we are not alone.
Alright guys, that's it. You can watch the full video on Go For It Randy. I do have your link down below, Randy. Let me bring in Randy, our guest here. Man, that's an incredible
Did we lose him?
documentary.
Oh, there he is.
No, he's here. Yeah, we're here. So yeah, wonderful, man. I appreciate you allowing us to share that and coming on and talking to us. It's amazing. So I'm trying to figure out why, you know, everybody's not talking about this, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, there's a whole bunch of, you know, here's the thing. Basically, when you have firsthand information from something, that's where that information doesn't get out. But once it gets past the initial source of the information and then other people start talking about it, then the information is allowed to freely flow. So once it gets out, then it starts getting out there. But like right now, they're doing a really good job of making sure that hardly any people see the stuff that I put out today. So, but years ago, it used to be a completely different story. So
yeah, I have noticed the shadow banning that seems to occur whenever you've got stuff like this, and they, you know, it's like the algorithm is designed to suppress the information, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. And then the thing that really surprised me is this, you know, I went 5 years researching the orbs every single day, getting up at dawn and twice a day. And, you know, I took 20,000 photographs, and I've got, you know, a mountain of stuff to show people. And it's like no one really cared. You know why? Because people don't understand that about the interdimensional beings. This is new. That's why I'm, you know, pretty much the top guy right now in this. Is because no one really saw what was really going on here. They didn't have the understanding that I had, because 3 years ago is when I first got introduced to the orbs firsthand. You know, seeing 100 UFOs in the sky, that really blew my mind away. And I was just like, wow. From that moment on, I was never the same guy. I was like, wow, we're not alone here on Earth. And you know, this was like 1988 for most people. What were you doing in 1988? Probably did a lot of there. Well, I've known ever since then. So since the 80s, and to go all that time, like, and the government's always been saying, hey, oh no, UFOs, they don't exist. ETs, they don't exist for years and years and years. No, you're crazy if you think about stuff like that. But today they've done a real good campaign of reversing that. To the last 10, 15 years has been all about ETs everywhere, in commercials, on buildings, everywhere. So now the new generation has been totally reprogrammed, reindoctrinated into I heard this, like planet. Planet is plain ET. Plan ET. Yeah. I just heard that from one of my subscribers today, and I was like, wow, I never thought about that. Plain ET. But anyways, but for planet, it's like they're programming you on many different levels to introduce this whole ET thing into the lexicon of everyone's mindset. And they've done a really good job of it. But what they don't talk about is interdimensional beings. And I don't watch television, stopped watching it 5 years ago. So I don't know. I do know that back then I started noticing that they put orbs in commercials and in videos and all kinds of stuff. They were putting imitation orbs to like introduce people to the orbs, but don't tell you anything about it, but just have it floating around and like, oh yeah, any kind of spiritual thing. There's orbs flying around, but don't say anything about the orbs. Don't ever talk about that. But
it's like subconscious programming or something.
Right. And it's like introducing you to something that you don't know about, but we're not going to talk about it. But in the back of your mind, it's like everybody knows about orbs, but nobody knows anything about orbs, you know? Right. And so no one knows that, like, you know, I don't know anyone else, to be honest with you, because I literally could take photographs with 1,000 orbs in one photograph. But I could do that over and over and over. I mean, every day of the year I could do that, and I don't know anyone else that can do that. So that was something that was like really startling for me. That was the biggest thing. It was like, where are all these things coming from, and why are they showing up around me? You know, right. So that really blew my mind and opened up my whole life, and my life changed. I don't think I talk about that on there, but when this initially happened, I got healed the first night, and that was mind blowing, because from that moment on, my body got healed. I was over 400 and like disabled for 10 years, almost 10 years, where literally I got to the point where I was bedridden at the last part of it, where I literally could not get up and walk. I couldn't walk to the mailbox like 100 yards away. So that's how bad it was, because I had a back problem. But I got healed. I literally, when the orb showed up on the third night, I asked, hey, first of all, I said, are you God? That was the first thing, because I thought God sent these orbs. I thought they were like angels or something. That's what I thought. First time, I'm like, wow, are these angels? I don't know. And so I thought it was from God. I said, are you God? And then I said, hey, if you can heal my body, heal my body. Well, guess what? I got healed that night instantly right there. I felt it, and the energy happened. And I didn't know what it was, but for the next 3 weeks, I was like, this massive energy was in my body, and I couldn't sleep. I'm like, I only needed like 3 hours of sleep every night. I'm just taking pictures of orbs for the next 3 weeks, just on the life. Literally, my life just totally sucked up until that day. Like I knew what was going on down here. I know about everything. So pretty much, you know, when you know that, your brain is like, oh my gosh, what do you do? You know, I mean, it's like, there's just no way out of this, you know, thing that we're in here. And, it was like my life changed that moment. And literally that day I put a smile on my face, and it never left for 5 years. And every day for the last 5 years, I've had a smile on my face, even though some pretty, you know, bad things have happened once in a while, you know. But when it's happened, like, I'm able to deal with it in real time. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned from this too. The moment this happened, where the orbs came into my life, where it was 24/7 every single day, from that moment on, what I did for myself was I started to live in real time, what I call living in real time, as a real time human, which means like I like live in this moment. I don't schedule stuff. If the only time I schedule something is if I'm going to go take a trip somewhere, then I'll have to schedule. But other than that, I don't make appointments. I don't show up somewhere in the future. Like, no, I mean, on that day, give me a call. And if I'm available, okay. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing on that day, but yeah, that's the way I've lived my life for 3 years. And like, I overcame fear, my fear of death. I mean, this was 5 years ago, overcame the fear of death. And like, people don't understand this. It really is important to overcome the fear of death, because if you don't, you fear a lot of things in life that I don't fear anymore. I don't fear anything anymore. Nothing. Not any human being on earth, not any being out there. And again, I've stood next to giants from another dimension that I've taken photographs of. And these things showed up in very unique ways, supernatural ways, to let me know that, like, wow, something amazing is happening in this moment. Like the way it happened, it was like, whoa. And like, don't mess with this. Like the last time it happened, I was like, I was done. You know, I didn't ask for it at all, but I did make one little mistake. And because I made that one little mistake, wow, one of these beings showed up. And I'm not going to say what I said, but I made just a little mental error, and it cost me a trip by standing in front of a giant with big horns on his head. And I'm just like, whoa, blown away, thinking, you know, what's going to happen next. But I was not in fear. The guy standing next to me was in fear, and that guy got freaked out. And literally for the next 6 months, it was pretty bad. I mean, it was really, it really changed his life, because he had no idea. I mean, how do you introduce giants to people? It's like, hey, you know, I literally told him, hey, come here, watch this. And he came over, and I took a picture, and there it was right there. And I said, look up over there, see over there? I literally told him where it was going to be and showed it to him. And I said, watch this. And I took the picture, and he was just like freaking out. Like, what is that? What, you know, just freaking. So normal people that have not been exposed to anything like some of this stuff, are not ready to handle what's the reality that we live in down here. They're not, you know, one time I saw some kind of a being flying overhead up in the sky, you know, outside at night. And I don't know what that was, but it was huge. It went through the sky, and it was the biggest object I've ever seen in the sky ever. And I don't mean just like a big object. I'm talking like maybe 1,000 747s might cover the wingspan of whatever this thing was. 1,000 of them might cover the wingspan of whatever this thing was. Wow. It was dark and black and just like shut the light, like the stars out, like literally cut the stars off the light. So I knew this thing was massive, and I kind of have a pretty good idea. We're talking miles across. So those type objects exist, or something, you know, is able to do things. And I've had lights come on, portals open up. One of these portals opened up here at nighttime, and this big, huge light opened up, but the light didn't like shine down on Earth and like light up, illuminate the whole area. The light was just up in the sky, but this big, huge light that, you know, 100 747s could have flown through at one time. Wow. So it was that big of a hole. And so that things like that, you know, kind of affects you a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I bet. So how do you know that they're interdimensional beings, or how would you describe that as, what I guess distinguishes something that's in our dimension or something that can phase in and out of our dimension, and therefore they're interdimensional, right?
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure that they're interdimensional, but what I am 1,000% sure is that if you can go through a wall, to me, I call that interdimensional. You're going from one dimension to another, or something, you know, some kind of supernatural event is taking place there. So I literally have video footage of me talking about them, and literally they come right through the wall while I'm talking about them, and come right up to the camera, fly right up to the camera, literally a foot away from the camera, and then jot off that way. Big, bright orb flying through the wall on cue. So when that happens over and over again, you kind of, you know, don't doubt it. I have video footage. Michelle back east had these like winged like little beings, like little fairy type beings that went, you know, flying around, and they would go right through the concrete patio. Okay.
Yeah,
and you can
that was in the video.
Yeah, you can clearly see like they like fade out, like just like in the movies, like in the Field of Dreams when they walked into the cornfield, when the ghosts walk into the cornfield. Yeah. They kind of like melted into the corn. Same thing. Yeah. Exactly. Like those guys knew about that and put it into a movie. Obviously, someone knows about that kind of thing, because I don't know. It was exactly the same kind of thing. The way you see it on the video, it looks almost exactly the same way as those men walking into the cornfield, where they just like dissolve right into the corn. Like, how can you do that? How is that possible? But
and there was the other one. I think that was also Michelle, where she was making the campfire, and it looks like it flies right to her head.
Yeah.
What's up with that? That's crazy. Yeah. It's like it didn't even affect the flight of it. It just went right to her head, come out the other side.
Zipped right on through like it was not even there. But yeah, they're I don't know what those are, but they're a different kind of some kind of an elemental spirit of some kind. I have no idea. You know, that's the whole thing. Nobody really knows, because I got a lot of experience, and I don't know exactly, okay, this is that, this is it. I just, you know, in a ballpark, they're in that kind of fairy kind of realm, if we can call it that. There's some kind of tiny beings, obviously, that are here on Earth. And like orbs are tiny. Most people don't realize that orbs are just only about like that big most of the time, but they can expand. Like when you take photographs of them, I think they absorb the light and literally expand up into a much bigger orb. So the orbs can be like this big, or they can be about as big as about like that. Most of the light orbs, about the biggest ones you'll get, are about like that big. And then there's other kinds of orbs. That's the thing. I have personally,
also the ones you see with your eyes and the ones that show up in the camera. Which is another thing that someone was wondering about, because I've noticed that I've seen orbs. So I know that you don't always have to have a camera, but sometimes it seems like the camera picks up more. So some of the pictures you've taken, you were saying earlier that it's like once the flash went off, it's like they absorb the light, like you were just saying, and they become more visible to the naked eye as well as on camera. So there's really no way to distinguish whether you're going to be able to see them with the naked eye or not. I mean, you get a little bit of both, right?
Well, in the beginning, it hasn't happened for a long time now. It's been probably 2 years now. But the first 2-3 years, every once in a while, I would see an orb go flying by. Like I was, walking out in the street one day, and I just saw this orb for about 3 or 4 feet just go zip on right by. I'm like, wow, that was cool. And I've had them like fly right up to me, golden orbs that literally look like a solid molten thing of gold coming right at me in the sky. That was bizarre. But yeah, I have seen a lot of that, but I've not seen it for a while. I think you know, back then I was, the first 2 years I was kind of doing that divine feminine thing, like trying to, what I was doing was just trying to think more like a feminine, like women do, you know.
Yeah.
And it
Just
really,
more loving and caring.
yeah,
or
more
whatever.
loving,
Yeah.
more joy, more all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it literally did change my life. I mean, it like just really changed my life the first couple of years. And I think because of that, that probably opened me up even more to the other side. And they literally, I was able to see things and do things. I remember a guy who can read the auras, you know, the auras behind you and all that stuff. And this guy, I think he's like he's one of the big guys up in Sedona. He's not really like, you don't really know his name, but he's like, people come up to this guy. He's got, you know, a beautiful home and everything. And just, he's really good at what he does. He's one of the top guys that I've ever seen. And first time I met him, he definitely, he looked at me and he was tripping out. He's like, what is going on with you? And he literally just pulled me over like, who are you? And what's going on with you? I've never seen anyone with your color aura ever. So what is going on with you? And I told him, and he's like, oh, okay. So that's what it is. But, yeah, he said I had like this fuchsia color aura, and he said, there's no one, I've never seen this before. So that was a pretty trippy thing. And, so there is, you know, obviously there's all kinds of energies out there. And that's one of the things that I learned too, was I like know when these, like, I don't know, like gates are opened or something, but like, I know when the energy is like flowing out there. And when that happens, like I can go out and take some really, that's usually when the really amazing things happen. That's usually when the giants show up, that kind of stuff. It's usually when there's just this tremendous amount of energy. And I'm not talking about like you hear a lot of the you know, new agers where they say, oh yeah, you got this thing coming in and whatever on this such and such a date, we know, like the moons and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that kind of a thing. I'm just talking about like, there are days I wake up and it's like, it's today. And today I know, okay, I'm grabbing my camera and I'm going to go out and go take a bunch of photos. One time I did that, and in less than 20 minutes I had taken photographs of over 100,000 orbs in less than 20 minutes. So but it's because I know when this is going to take place. I mean, when it's happening, I know it. It's like, okay, time to go. And that's like, I also ran into that giant that way too, but it wasn't that way, but it was a little bit different. But so yeah, it's really a bizarre world we live in, but I'm here to tell you, you know, all these things are very real, and even beyond this, I mean, the things that are taking place down here, we live in a very, very unique earth that is just filled with all kinds of beings, that's for sure. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Or
I do.
Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you to Randy for coming on here, because he did something for me. Okay, like it had to be over 5 years ago when I found Randy's work, because I had been seeing orbs and stuff a lot, and you know, I was like confused about them, and I was learning a lot of things and going through a lot of changes, and zeitgeist that came out and all that. And my husband and I had went to Houston because he wanted to see Exodus and Testament, and I stayed in the hotel room, and Randy talked to me on the phone and made me feel better, because, you know, I was just going through all these changes, and I guess I was feeling like I was like, I don't know, having doubts and stuff about like Jesus, and he helped me through all of that, and to know that there, you know, that wasn't possible. Like I didn't have to let go of all that and everything. And he let me understand that the orbs that I saw, you know, well, he was telling me all about what he knows about them, and I've come to learn as time has went on. I almost feel like, I mean, Randy, you can tell me if you agree with this. I think that all of us are like orbs. I think that there's alien orbs, angel orbs, and maybe deceased loved one orbs. And I just think that we're all, maybe that's how we perceive ourselves in, you know, when you're out of body or after you die. What is your opinion on that?
I like have a wide variety of possibilities there. First of all, I start off with just angels. That was my first thing from the very beginning. That's what I've always thought they were. But they also, I believe now today, could just be spirits. And when I say spirits, like people don't get it, but I think it's possible that like literally, like there could just be spirits that literally can be formed out of nothing. or a spirit of, let's say, hope or something like that. Let's say, literally, a spirit of hope can come into your life, that kind of a thing. I believe today that those kind of things exist. So they might not be just like a spirit, you know, like what we think of someone, like someone's passed on or something like that. Or it could be, you know, literally the fallen angels, and their offspring from them, because they mated with women and supposedly they didn't have souls. So their spirits are roaming around. See, each one of us, we get a physical body, but we also get a soul, and we have a spirit body. So that's all. You have three things inside. You got your physical body, your soul, and your spirit inside you. So your spirit can leave your body. So your spirit can leave your body. That's how people do the astral traveling and all that kind of stuff. But your soul is in your body at all times. It stays with you at all times, I believe. And it also is filled. That's where the Holy Spirit comes in. So here's the part that I didn't know, but like I've had so many miracles happen in my life. I mean, massive miracles, not little ones, massive miracles. And I found out that basically in our soul is where the Spirit lives. So the Holy Spirit, we're given the Holy Spirit, and it's inside our soul. And that's trapped inside you, so you can't lose that. Once it's inside there, it's locked in there. So that's literally God inside your body. So every thought you have, God knows every thought. Everything you do, God knows about you. God knows every single one of us. And the thing is like, you know, I never used to talk about things like this before. And I just started talking about this recently, only because like I've been experiencing this for 5 years, but people weren't ready for the orbs. They sure as heck weren't ready for the orbs and the true reality that we live in down here. So it's like, you know, I'm introducing people to it slowly because people can't handle this all. It took me a while to get it all. It took me 30 years to get the whole picture. But now I've got a real good idea what's really going on down here. And it's awesome. It is totally awesome. That's the most amazing part of it, is that, you know, I was like in total fear 5 years ago. And for the last 5 years, not one day living in fear, not one day like looking like, oh my gosh, I'm so fearful of what's going to happen. I'm not at all fearful of what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. And don't be even thinking that I don't know what's going on in this world. I do. So I can look up in the sky and see what's in our skies. And I'm not at all, hasn't affected my life. I'm physically in awesome shape in terms of like my numbers, all of that kind of stuff. So things don't bother me like they bother other people. So even though there are terrible things happening, even though there are good things happening, it doesn't matter. Good things, bad things, you choose the path that you're on. You choose how you live your day every day. And it's up to us. I don't have, you know, like I have a lot of people tell me about like their ascension things and this, like, oh yeah, I just feel soaked and drained today. I don't feel that ever, never. And I have been, like I said, woke up at dawn every day for 5 years. I stopped doing that last year. But when I was doing that, I didn't set an alarm clock for that. The orbs woke me up every day. So I'd be like in a deep sleep and all of a sudden wake up and like, whoa, it's time to go out and take pictures of orbs today. And so they would wake me up. I'd go out and take pictures of them. And but that was kind of my thing. But I had energy for the last 5 years. I've had more energy than anyone I know. There's no one that can keep up with me no matter what I do. And, you know, it's not like I'm this fit guy that can do that. I got 100 extra pounds on me, and yet I can outdo anyone that I come in contact with. I've not had anyone be able to keep up with me. So the life is amazing. We're all children of the Most High. It is the most amazing story. When people find out, they're going to be blown away in the most amazing way, because we're not nothingness. We're something very special. Each and every one of us is special, and people need to know that. They don't understand it, but find out the real truth, their life is going to be changed from that moment on. And you're not alone down here. We have help from above. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. This morning, I was telling Sherry, you know, like I have a real bad time with computers and technology, because it doesn't work for me like most human beings. I get attacked, and, you know, spiritually attacked. I get physical. And I was watching it, and then all of a sudden my software software starting up, and my computer, 30 minutes, I couldn't get into my computer for about 30 minutes today. I tried my password and it said, no, Randy, you don't understand. That's not your password. No, you don't get in. And I turned my computer off, turn it back on. And after a while, I just like, okay, it's never been this bad, but it's like, I guess I'm gonna have to get a new computer today. It was that bad. Either that or go take it down to a guy and have them figure if they can get it out and get it working. But literally, I just said, hey, God, I need my computer right now. They're hacking into it. Literally 30 seconds later, first time after 30 minutes, I punched in that password, and for the first time it worked. And then not only that, but I also have a hard time getting videos put up online because they don't want my videos going up online either. So, and they're not allowed. I don't get, everyone else can get a thumbnail. You can put whatever picture you want to have your thumbnail, not me. No, sorry, we don't take your thumbnail. So I have to rely on whatever comes up. And boy, the one today that I put out today was perfect. So it was like I got the best thumbnail I could possibly have. It's a newsroom scene kind of a thing. So it was like a really good thumbnail. But like normally I get these really bad thumbnails because I have no say on what the thumbnails are going to be. So I just want people to know you have help from above. I've been doing this for 5 years. My mother got cancer in 2014. She was on her deathbed in the ICU at Mayo Hospital. And I didn't think she was going to make it through the night. She had been suffering with cancer for 15 years on chemotherapy. It was the fourth, had 4 rounds of chemo. I thought she was dead. And I literally asked God, hey, she can't die right now. 3 days later, not only did she go out of the intensive care, she walked out of the hospital. The next time she had her blood measured, for the first time in 15 years, she was cancer free. And for 5 years, it's been that way. So life is awesome.
That's
amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted you to go, and April also mentioned it, just the Jesus story. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, I'll share what happened. That basically, that's kind of a big story because all along here, he's been kind of sending me messages, and that's the way it works. Okay, he doesn't sit there and talk to you into your ear and tell you stuff. Well, maybe some people have that happen. That's never happened to me. But for me, it was just like he would send people or something happen. Or one time he sent an orb in front of my eye, which to most people at the time I didn't think anything of it. But after later, I found out, I saw a thing on it. Well, the Antichrist is supposed to be blind in his right eye, and I thought, oh no, what? And I thought, wow, that was so bizarre that even happened. And I thought, maybe it was a message being sent to me. And I thought, could it be that maybe because I'm not for Christ, at that time I wasn't into Christ. I didn't know who Christ was. I knew there was a God, but I didn't know who God was, at that time. And so I thought maybe he was sending me a message like, hey, Randy, you are anti-Christ. Get with it. You know what I mean? I'm here, Yeah. And that was like one of the first times. And then there was a couple other ones. But the one that really hit me was a few years later in 2017, last year. After I saw those giants, the last giant, the one that really kind of spooked me, I saw this thing, and it wasn't a big deal at the time. But when I walked away from that, I started thinking about that. And I thought, wow, wait a minute. If there are these beings with horns that are like 10 feet long on top of their head, that are, 5 stories tall, these beings are real. And this one came up in a very unusual way. And he was listening to what I was saying. Like he literally just popped up out of nowhere because he heard something that I was talking about. And that's why he showed up. And so because he showed up that way, I was like, wow, if those guys are in tune, listening to what I'm doing, and like they can show up into my life, well, then we know the dark side's real. So that must mean God is real too. And so that's when I started to click in like, well, I believed in God, but I just, like I said, no clues like who is God. And then like Jesus let me know in 2017, after that happened, he literally sent the word to let me know it was him. I was thinking about him, and literally I was thinking of John 14:6, which is I am the way, the truth, and the life. And literally he sent I am the way right in front of my face. And in those same bright white letters, I am the way. And I read it, I am the way. And then all of a sudden it just started taking off like that. But my point is that no, I've been doing this. I've got probably more experience in almost paranormal. These guys take days off. I didn't take any day, 165 days a year for 5 years. Okay, so that put me in a whole new category for that. So I started to try to work out how many times I had supernatural encounters. It was about 3,000 times is what I figured. 3,000 supernatural encounters. Everything from buildings disappearing to, UFOs showing up, to giants showing up, to thousands of orbs showing up, to you name it. So over that time, I figured out a lot of things and had a lot of experiences and figured things out along the way. But yeah, this world is nothing like we think it is. That I can assure you. And there's literally millions of mental being there.
You, Sherry.
I thought, I'm not trying to change the subject, but there's so many things I wanted you to tell about. So I'll just say real quick, the experience that you had with your brother with the building, and then also about the lens cap and the dog toy.
Oh yeah, the lens cap and dog toy. Okay.
That's one of my favorites.
Okay, well, hold on one second. No, I don't see the thing. This, I'm going to show you this right here. This is the dog toy. This is one of them. There was actually two of them. This is one. Actually, I think I have the other one right here. I don't know. It's somewhere. I don't see it right now. But my dog literally was playing with this thing one day. Found it. We were out in the Sonoran Desert here, and we found this dog, this little dog ball thing, and I let my dog play with it for a little while. When she was done with it, though, I took this ball and I took it and I put it off the road over in the dirt, and my dog was like 10 feet away over that way. And so I put it down there, and then I walked back to my dog, and we walked home. When I got home, I'm inside. When I got home that time, I went and I was outside the house. I had to do some things outside, and she sat down right on the porch. And I go turn away. I go do a couple things just for like, a minute or so. Then I turn around, and this ball is right there with her, and she's playing with this ball again. It is impossible that she could have gotten this ball because she was 10 feet away, and she was on the opposite side over there. This thing was placed over there. The only way this could have gotten to her was if it was teleported to her somehow. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know I had another lens cap that I had. I was out in the desert taking pictures of orbs, and I lost my lens cap. And for 4 months, it was out in the desert collecting dust. And one day I'm in here watching a video about angels. And it was like late at night, 1 a.m. And I watched about 2 hours of angel stuff. And at the end of that stuff, all of a sudden something happened. I'm like, whoa. And I looked down, and there is the freaking lens cap going down. And like right in between my feet is the lens cap. And I picked it up. At first, I'm just, I'm not thinking this is my lens cap. I'm just thinking it's a lens cap. And I picked the lens cap up, and I look at it like, whoa, it's covered in dust. Not like dust inside your house, like dust out in the middle of the Sonoran Desert, out being in the desert for 4 months. That's what kind of dust it was covered in. And I was just like, no way is this my lens cap. And I'm like, but it says Nikon. And I'm like, no way. I went over to my camera, and I put it on my camera, and sure enough, it fit right on my camera. So it was my lens cap. It happened. And then, so I'm like, wow, that was mind blowing. So it happened again. 3 or 4 months after that, I lost my lens cap. I'm like, where's my lens cap? I'm like, okay, guys, I lost my lens cap. I want it right here on the outside my door. I said, put it on the railing out here on the thing, and so that I can have it. And sure enough, I went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, guess what? It was over on the not where I said to put it, but it was on the staircase, but over on the edge. Like if it fell over, it was like right on the edge, kind of. If it fell over, it would have fallen down like 25 feet down to the first floor. So it was kind of in a very precarious place, like right in the center, like, hey, Rand, here's your lens cap. So I knew the lens cap was like, that blew me away. And so I got 2 of these balls sent to me. That I've had Coke bottles sent to me through the walls. They literally took one from inside and took it out on the patio and set it in the middle of the patio, like, because I don't ever drink out there on the patio. And when it happened, I'm just like, now, how is that possible? Coins. I stacked up a bunch of coins one time like this, I had coins like this that were like a bunch of them, but they were about that high. And I just stacked them straight up. When this was like years, this was before the orbs. This was before the light orbs came into my life. This was about 6 years ago. And this is kind of what kind of started this whole thing. So I stacked up these coins right here on this table. I went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, the coins were bent over like that. So they were like moved over, and they weren't falling down or anything. They were like making a bridge, formed into a bridge. And I was just like, whoa, that blew me away. And I actually made a video of it, and I took it down because it freaked me out. Back then, I wasn't ready for it. So back then, I knew I locked all my doors. So my door was locked to my bedroom. No one came into my room that night. So something advanced. And also the light, no one turned the light on either to do this. So how did someone do this in the dark and not tip the coins over and fall? I mean, I couldn't even do it. I mean, I tried to, I couldn't even do it. So it was like, whatever happened there was like supernatural. And I'm like, whoa, there are supernatural beings coming through the walls at night. And that freaked me out because I wasn't ready for something like that. Mm-hmm. So that really blew me away.
That's amazing. So, okay, the building story. Can you tell that?
Okay, so the building story. This just blew me away. About 2.5, 3 years ago, a friend of mine said, hey, you got to go to this bicycle shop, and we were looking for a new bicycle. And I said, okay, where is it at? And I don't have a cell phone, just so you know. I've never owned a cell phone, so I don't have GPS. I don't have any of the stuff that everyone else has. So never owned a cell phone in my life. So I do it the old school way. I just show up into the town and just try and find it. I had no idea what street it was on, address, nothing. Just kind of knew a general area of where it was at. I said, oh, I'll be able to find it, no problem. So we're driving down the main street. And sure enough, we're going, it's like 40 miles an hour. And we're driving, my brother's driving, I'm in the passenger side. I go, oh, there it is right over there across the street. I could see it's like 100 feet across the street over there. I said, go down to the next intersection, turn around, and we'll come back. We go down to the next street, we turn around, come back. And when we come back and turn around the corner, right where the street is, where it's at, it was right on the corner of that street. The building wasn't there. And I'm like, and at the time, I'm just like, okay, we must have just got the street wrong because the building's not there. So I said, okay, hey, there's the pancake house over there. Go into the driveway right across the street from there. And let's go down there. And it must be down to the next street, I guess. So we drive down to the next street. And we get down there and I'm like, no way, this is way too far. No way was it this far. And it wasn't down there either. I'm like, no way, let's go back. So we drive back on the main street, come back, and sure enough, it is now there. So about 2.5 minutes later, that thing reappeared. And this time I'm freaking out because I felt like I had like missing time or something because it was, nothing has blown my mind. That was the only thing that blew my mind because I couldn't figure, that's just something you can't wrap your brain around. How does a building disappear and then put it back self together again? I don't get it. But that was shown to me. And for the last 2-3 years since that's happened, it's been mind blowing. And it's like, I don't understand why was that even shown to me? Because something on the other side went to a lot of trouble to set that up. Because my brother was with me and he's like one of the most, he doesn't believe in a lot of things, you know, and like he is just like, he's like one of my worst debunker type people, you know. And so for him to be able to see this was huge for him and huge for me that he saw it with me because he didn't see a lot of the stuff like UFOs and he was never around whenever I'd see UFOs. And he's my twin brother, by the way. I'm a twin. So
wow.
Yeah, people don't know that. So it's like he never got to experience any of that stuff. So that was like one of the first things that he got to experience. And it blew his mind. And even to this day, for years, he didn't even want to talk about it. And when I'd bring it up, he'd be like very uncomfortable because his mind can't, to this day, can't wrap around like what really happened there. But we know one thing for sure. We knew exactly where we were. And like the building was there, you know, and then it disappeared. And then it was there, reappeared later. But the main thing about that was like, I'm thinking like, why was I shown that? So for years I've thought about that. Why, until just recently. Last year I found out the reason why. You there? Okay. So there, what happened was I found out about a very mystical cave that's in Israel, in Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And this cave is absolutely mind-blowing because there is rocks there that are protecting one of the most sacred things, one of the most amazing things on this earth. And these rocks literally open up, and literally only one person has been able to walk through into a cave. It's a chamber where literally the throne of God is located today, and has been located there for 2,600 years. But people didn't know that. And where this throne, I'm going to tell you what this story, so you know exactly what's going on here. What happened was, and this is all, I did documentaries, so everything I'm about to tell you is on a documentary movie that's on my channel right now. It's about 50 minutes long. It's called Mind Blowing Ancient Discovery. But what he found was the Ark of the Covenant, which is a solid golden throne that it weighs 900 pounds. That is, you know, the Indiana Jones movies were all about that. The Ark of the Covenant, that was like the most coveted thing that India was looking for. Anyways, what it is it's the throne of God, literally. And what it is it is the holiest place on this earth. And it is being protected supernaturally for well over 2,000 years. But here's the thing. This throne was located, guess where it was located? It was located 20 feet below the cross that Jesus was crucified on. And here's what happened. So this is a story that most people have never heard before, and they need to know. So the cross was on, it was on the Calvary Escarpment, which is located in Jerusalem, right there near the bus station. It's about 100 feet away from where the garden tomb is, of where Jesus was put after he died. But here's the thing. He died on the cross. When he died, a centurion stuck a spear in him to make sure he was dead. When that happened, a lot of the blood came out, ran down the cross. When he died, the moment he died, God made it, and it's in the Bible. And a crack happened, went right down where the cross hole is. A crack went down through the solid rock and went 20 feet below the actual cross hole. I mean, directly straight down. And what happened was the blood ran down, the cross went down into that little cross hole, and then it went down into that little crack, and the blood went 20 feet down that crack, straight down. And guess what it hit? It hit the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant, and most people have no clue what that means. When the 7th drop of blood hit that mercy seat, at that moment, all sins were forgiven for every human being on this earth who believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Who is God. Jesus was here, the one who created this earth, and we live on his earth. And for people who don't know this, the North Pole is located in the center of the universe. People don't know this. The entire universe, every single star in the universe rotates around the North Pole here on Earth. Every single star rotates around a star called Polaris, which is the North Pole star located directly above the North Pole here on Earth. People don't tell you this. They don't know this because they won't tell you this in textbooks. But this Earth is very special because it is the place to be. Okay? And that's the whole thing. That's what I found out.
When the stars rotate at the North Pole, when they time lapse it, it makes the circles with the line with the North Pole. And that's why they have like the owl worship and everything, because it looks like an owl.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Just a fun fact.
Yeah, I've not heard that one yet. But.
What's the name of that? Do you remember the name of the documentary, Randy? Because I saw that, the whole thing about the crack and the blood running down. I saw that in a documentary not too long ago, and I can't think the name of it. But I know a lot of.
I actually made it. Yeah, I have a documentary on my channel. It's called Mind Blowing Ancient Discovery Is Real.
Okay.
Not Israel, but is real.
Right.
I-S and then R-E-A-L.
So they can find that on your channel and your videos.
And just so that you know, most of my documentaries are like 40 minutes long to 50 minutes long. The latest one that I just had just came out. It's like 20 minutes long. But most of the really good ones are like 40 minutes long or longer. So if you just look for the times of, it's 40 minutes long, it's going to be a good one.
And so it came out, a couple of years ago, didn't it? I want to say.
No, that came out. I put that out about 6 months ago. But the story has been out there since the 70s. The people have no. Actually, the Ark of the Covenant was found in 1982. Was the actual date that it was found. So it's been out there since 82. So a little over 30 some years, 35, 36 years, something like that. But yeah, it's an amazing thing. You know, people don't get it. We're like we're children of the Most High. I mean, literally, we are like God's literal children. We are being watched over like, you know, people don't get it. So the bottom line is, here's the deal, because it's important that everyone knows this. You literally, we're here for a reason. And, you know, people say, oh yeah, what is the meaning of life? You know, well, here's the meaning of life. You're here to do one thing, choose. That's it. Choose who you want to believe in, because that's going to choose what your afterlife experience is going to be. And people, you know, they don't believe in the you know, the negative stuff. But the bottom line is that, you know, there are things that are real and things that aren't real. You know, there is a hell. It's underneath us. It's called Sheol is the name of it. And it's a very real place. Guess what? They've tried to drill down, and they can only go 8 miles down. At 8 miles, they reach the cage for that, because it like chews up drill bits. There's no drill bit that can drill down through this stuff. Whatever it is, it's metal that is so hard you can't drill a drill through it. So 8 miles is all we can go down, because there's something down below 8 miles. Well, gee, I wonder what it is. You know, what would be down there that's keeping something down underneath the earth that someone doesn't want out of there, whatever that is. You know, so it makes sense that the whole thing, and, you know, I could tell you all kinds of things, like where do rainbows come from, you know? Where do people think that comes from? I mean, seriously, because it doesn't happen by accident, but it's a reflection. So, and it's a reflection off of water. And it shows the dome that's just above our head, because the dome is very real. And it's in the Bible. It's called the firmament. And it's made out, stretched out with like molten glass. Real thing. People don't believe in this. I didn't believe in any of this stuff until all of this stuff adds up. And everything that I know, I start researching, and I find out this stuff in the ancient text starts matching up with it, and everything lines up perfectly. So that's why, again, and then you look at my life, and I look at everyone else, and I say, like, you know, I don't struggle like other people, you know, as far as like, you know, the day-to-day things. I don't have the same kind of issues other people have, because I don't think that way anymore. I only think about, you know, things I want to do, what I want to, you know what I mean? Whatever it is I'm doing in the day or whatever. But I'm focused in this moment. I'm not thinking about all this stuff going on, you know, in the past, what's happening in the future. That stuff doesn't enter my brain. I only think about what's happening right now. And that literally has kept me in a positive frame of mind this whole time, because if you're not thinking about negative stuff, that doesn't bother you. It doesn't affect you in the same way as if you're going over whatever, you know, you have things at home, whatever, all that negative stuff at home, you know, home life, things like that. That can really affect your life, your mental, you know, happiness and joy. Well, I know what it's like. If you can live in joy every single day, and it's easy to do every day, it starts changing your life, where after a little while, you're just happy every single day. And for no reason. It's like, why am I happy today? Well, because you have changed your, you know, like what people talk about vibrational stuff. You know, I'm like one of the top guys in terms of, I know what it's like to have the highest vibration out there. So I know what it's like to be so high that you can't sleep, because you're so happy and ecstatic for 3 weeks. And so I know what it's like to have the highest vibration you can possibly have. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need to have that, number one. And number two, you can just have, all you need is just to be a little bit, you know, in terms of your happiness, a little bit more joy in your life than just average. If your average is right here, just a little bit more is enough to propel you into a totally different life. And that's what happened to me. I just literally was like a little bit happier than the next guy. And that one thing literally changed my life, because I literally started to become happier, just because it started to become like this, a new way of living your life. It's like people talk about this in the New Age all the time, and it's very real. So if you focus on things that bring you joy, your life will be filled with joy and things like that in your life. And that's what's happened to me for 5 years. And I want
that was one of the things you mentioned in one of your videos, is that you don't have to wait for happiness in the future. I mean, it's just a change in your perception or your perspective right now. I mean, you can just choose to see the glass is half full right now and be happy at this moment, instead of, because I know a lot of times they're like, well, if I had this house, if I had this car, if I had this soulmate or something, and we always project happiness into the future. But that was one of the things that really resonated with me. What you said was that, you know, you can have it right now if you choose to have it in the moment.
Yeah, and you can have almost anything. And when I say almost anything, I mean, obviously you can't have a $100 million company tomorrow. You have to work for that kind of thing. But you can have almost anything. Like if that was something that that's something you could have down the road kind of thing. But my thing is, like, instantly right now you have access to things that you have no idea about. I mean, that you could have access. For example, like I was telling Sherry about, like, the celebrity thing that's happened in my life. That's another thing people might want to hear about too. When I first saw the orbs 30 years ago, all of a sudden celebrities just started showing up in my life. And I'm not talking about like I went out looking for them. I'm talking about like they showed up in my life. They would come to me, you know, that kind of thing. And where I was at. And so that's what freaked me out. Like, how is this happening? You know, I'd see someone and then literally minutes later I would see, I mean, I would like when I was talking about Anne Margaret, I was reading an article about Anne Margaret in a magazine, and she's Elvis Presley. She was with Elvis Presley back in the 60s, I think, a big thing, before Priscilla and all that. But anyways, she was like one of the biggest movie stars back in the 60s and stuff. And I'm reading this article about her, and literally I go down to a mall. After I finish this article, I go down to a mall, and I'm walking down the mall, and I look right next to me is Anne Margaret walking right next to me, pacing me right next to me, shoulder to shoulder. Like we went down to the mall together, like literally walking down the hall, just us. Like, I'm like, what is going on here? So that happened over and over and over. And I could name a list of about 10, 15 people. I'll tell you one gal. I met this girl in when was that? 1999. Met this girl. She was like, she's just kind of an up and coming singer kind of a thing. And so she was just kind of getting into the music industry. Anyways, I met her, and I'm just like, I got this, like, I just knew, like, hey, you're going to be mega famous, and everyone's going to know your song. This song here, it's going to be #1. Guess what? 3 weeks later, it was, and her name is J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, yeah, I met her before she became famous, and it was like I just knew, and she, like, her eyes lit up, like, what? How do you know this stuff? Like, she knew she kind of knew, I think, what was going to happen in her life. But she'd never, you know, I'm here telling her what's going to happen, you know? And it wasn't like I'm a psychic or anything, but just, like, we have intuition, and like sometimes your intuition is like right on. And so, like, I don't feel like I have any psychic abilities, but I've had times where I've had telepathy. And the reason I know that it's real is because, like, the first time it happened, I was walking my dog at nighttime. I'm out here in Arizona. It's really dark. And I was literally walking her, and all of a sudden I got this snake, like, just this thought came to my head, not a voice, a thought, snake. And I was like, what? There's no reason for me to think snake right now. So I literally stopped, and I looked around, and sure enough, 15 feet ahead was a rattlesnake coiled up, ready to go. And so literally I got this telepathic thought from the other side, like, hey, snake. And so every time that would happen, I take things seriously. If I have a really unusual thought, I'm like, okay, whoa, let me see what's going on here. And that happened again. Another time, a guy flashed I got this a thought like peace. And I'm like, what? Why am I thinking peace right now? This doesn't make any sense. 5 seconds later, my neighbor drives out the gate, comes right by me, drives by me, and gives me a peace sign as he's driving by. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that was about. And so that's what happened to me. The only way I would know that this stuff would happen, I'll tell you another one. It's in my second to latest video. A few months ago, I got a real serious, like, just knowing, like, hey, Rand, go back to where you used to live. Go back to California and go visit your place. And I did, and my girlfriend came with me, and at the time, I'm telling her, I'm like, hey, there was a big fire that came right through here. And I'm saying, yeah, like, and anyways, I told her, hey, I don't feel comfortable being here. I just feel like fire. Like, I feel like we're going to get stuck here, and we're not going to be able to get out of California. I'm really worried. And anyways, so I showed her all these places, fire. I said, yeah, fire came through here. And anyways, 2 months later, the fire came. And guess what? The hotel we stayed in got burned. Everything got burned. The fire came. And
Oh, so you there?
yeah, I'm here,
Okay.
but I can't see.
Yeah, the connection's kind of got a little bit glitchy there.
It's
We'll
gonna
see.
be.
So until he comes back or reconnects, I just want to add to that story. You know, he was talking about the snake that was coiled up in front of him. My sister, who's her and her husband are both ministers or whatever, but she has this dream about her daughter getting bit by a snake, and it was about 2 weeks later. You know, she was totally worried about it. I think it was a copperhead or something, but she was totally worried about the snake. It was this dream. It was really vivid. And she warned all of her kids, you know, look out for snakes and all this stuff. And it wasn't 2 weeks later, her daughter goes out on the porch to go to the bus stop. And sure enough, there's a snake right there in the bushes, right by the front door. And if she hadn't warned her daughter to be looking out for snakes, she might have gotten bitten by that. So I think a lot of times, you know, we can sense or pick up on things or get help from the other side with a little message like that. And so I saw it happen with her in her life, and that was pretty cool. Similar story, but like I said, it was 2 weeks before it happened. It was a dream she had.
Wow. When stuff like that happens.
Yeah, that's wild stuff. So was there any other questions for Randy that you had? Any other
no,
stories?
not really. I just wanted him to like tell all his stuff. Another thing I wanted him to talk about was
He dropped off, but maybe he'll come back.
See, I mean, I've always had orbs and stuff, but I mean, not on the scale that he does, of course. But it was just interesting that both of us went to see Abraham Hicks, and we both like got called up, and the way that she picks people is stuff like that. So I was gonna have him tell about that if he, if he comes
his
back.
His Abraham Hicks story then.
Yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah.
And she actually took pictures of orbs that he has and has them framed in her house and everything. So.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, and every time that they have Abraham Hicks conference or whatever, in the cameras they picture, there's pictures of orbs that are like hanging out at the conferences, like they're they're listening or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a presence of them there, so that's really neat.
And that's the thing, I was just chatting with Metal Rabbit, and before we actually went on the air, Randy was saying that making that distinction between beliefs and religion and your own experience and stuff. So I mean, I know he sounds ultra religious to some people, but it's really his own journey he's been on, and I just respect everybody for where they're at on their journey. And religion was a big part of my life that sort of catapulted me to where I am today. And although I see religion as man-made, Jesus, I see Jesus as being, he's, like I always say, he's my hero, and I understand he's the way, the truth, and the life or light, however you remember it, with the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
In a different way than religion will tell you. I think we should emulate what he did and live the way he lived and focus more on his life and his teachings or whatever. But, I understand that other people are in different places with that, and, I'm okay with that. It's not really my job to tell someone else what to believe. But, at the same time, we're where we are today, and we are who we are on our own journeys, and I respect that. I really, it was really he's definitely connected with these orbs and all of this cool stuff here that Sherry had brought to my attention, and that's really what I wanted to focus on, because I think, we all love orbs and the paranormal, right?
I noticed that me and him had a lot of the same path, because it was kind of like, you go down the rabbit hole into the conspiracy theory thing, and, learn about, this, that, and the other. And then it's like both of us had kind of went full circle to where a lot of my beliefs are more Gnostic. They, were before, but it's still circling all the way back, and it's been a neat thing.
I wanted to share this image because these are also from goforitRANDY, that he had some more images of orbs and stuff. But this one, let me see if I can get to it. Oh, okay, here's the one that we were...
Wanted to bring that up because every time he plays the guitar, it's like these little orbs just start coming through the walls. And I tried to catch it on one. If you see it by the lamp, it's blue or green.
Yeah, let me zoom in on it.
Yeah.
That's a really cool one there.
All the rest of them were white.
You can see it flying through too. You can see a little streak or a tail behind it as well.
Yeah, I see a lot of like blue orbs, and so that's why I love when Randy has those blue orbs that show, because that's what I see mostly is blue orbs, and I see this blue like grid. I've spoken.
Here it is.
Before.
Here it is. Here, the blue grid.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this right before we went on. Okay, Randy's back with us. Let me.
I'm back. Yeah, I got kicked off again. They shut me off.
He has pictures that I've seen. Of course, not on the same scale as Randy. But
yeah, the grid going across here, it's kind of faint, but you can definitely see that along with all these orbs. Now, what I find interesting about these is it looks like they're flying the same direction you're traveling in this picture.
Are. Yeah.
Instead of, so you can't really say, well, it was snow or rain or something that's flying towards you, because they're flying. It's like they're traveling with you.
Yeah.
And tons of just like this, you know, tons.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things you can actually line up those orbs, and they just happen to line up with the center line of the roadway or the lines off the roadway. But yeah, you clearly can see that they are out in front of the car, and
is this the building that disappeared?
Yeah, no, that's the building that that I saw the 100 UFOs on top of.
Oh, okay.
So that was in 30 years ago. That's where I saw the UFOs, was just above that building.
Oh wow.
So there's the UFOs.
Yeah, she just grabbed some screenshots here. I just wanted to move through quickly. A lot of these were shown in the video, but this is, oh man, all the colors. That's amazing.
Yeah, but one thing about this photo right here, you'll see that there's thousands of orbs up there in the sky there. What people don't notice is, look at my shirt. That's a brand new blue shirt. I'd never worn that shirt until that day. All those white things are orbs that are attached to my shirt.
Oh,
see that?
Yeah.
Every one of there's like 100+ orbs on my body there.
Wow.
So I don't know what that's all about, but you'll notice they're not on the branches over there. They're only on my shirt.
That's wild.
I just love, and I have those pictures about where it almost looks like Randy's light body or spirit body is shown through. There's somewhere in there. There's so many, Randy. It was hard for me to put them in an order. You know, but
yeah. Okay, so that was down. This is that. Go back to that last photo there, because I want to tell them about that.
This here.
Yeah, the one where it was on the beach, where it was a scene there on the beach. It was one after that.
Okay. Oh, before this here.
Yeah.
Not this one. I guess
no. There was like a car there. You saw a car just to the right, a black car. There, right there. This is down in Malibu, California.
That's crazy. It looks like it's snowing.
Down there, and are you guys there again?
Yeah, we're here.
I think
we hear you. We see you, hear you.
My screen turned off the last time.
We might lose you again, but so this is in Malibu, California. So they follow you around all over the place.
Yep.
That is just, and you can see like the 3D nature of it too. You can see like, you know, there's some there's a depth to it. You know what I mean? You can see that there's some closer and some further away.
It's just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like with my kids are really into Randy's work too, and my son would say, okay, Mom, let's go for it, Randy. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, okay, go out on the porch. And then he says, I'm going to take your picture. He takes it. There's nothing. And then he's like, okay, call in like your cosmic family and your dad and your angels and all this stuff. And I'm like sitting there and then he'll take another picture and we see stuff, you know. One time we specifically asked for my dad, and there's like this big streak coming down, and it's going, I have my hands out like this, you know, and it's going right into my hand.
Oh, wow.
I love pictures of Randy like this. Well, I don't know if it's that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're seeing what you're seeing right now. So.
Okay. Yeah, they're just all, even during the day, broad daylight, he has them around him in every picture.
You see, there's like he was saying, I think in the video, where I don't know if it's the video we showed or a different one, but you could see like it looks like an eye in the middle of these. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit.
And you know, I know people might seem skeptical of what he's saying about, it really does seem, you know, like even you can look at this broadcast. It seems like his stuff is being suppressed for some reason. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like getting cut off and.
Yeah, and some of the things, and when he was talking about that, he got cut off. I was sitting there thinking, look, it's happening while he's talking about it.
I know, you know, and also like it seems when he talks about Jesus, it does it too.
Yeah. Look at that. Man, those are so colorful.
It's amazing.
The thing I went to in Sedona had, you know, some of the people there in Sedona was capturing images like this, and I was like, I've never seen so many colorful orbs like that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've always followed his work, you know. I'm so glad that you agreed to, you know, have him come on here. I'm so happy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is amazing stuff. I mean, look at this. That is just wild. What is that?
I love all of his pictures. All y'all really like sub his channel.
Yeah, I do have his link below, so you guys can check out. Oh, that's a zoomed in one of it. Let me see if I can...
And he covers other things too, like, you know, like that little alien body that they found the skeletal remains of and all that. And you know, he makes videos on all that kind of stuff. But this elongated orb thing is interesting when you look at like Rita's pictures from the deer.
Yeah.
Stuff. The things that I see in my yard, it looked very similar. Of course.
Yeah, I saw a few different things that on footage that he had, and I'm like, that would have totally looked just like Rita's pictures if it was just a still image of it. And look, here we go again, where they look like they're flying the same direction that he's traveling, not towards him. It's like they're traveling along with him.
Yeah.
It's really wild stuff.
He says he just almost, that is the moon right there, because yeah.
That's wild.
I know a lot, all of his pictures so well.
That is so amazing. Is that the last one? Oh, okay, here we go.
And he has a lot of pictures where, you know, there's like faces and stuff in orbs, you know. And I caught that one orb that has a picture of my mother-in-law, she's passed away, face in it. And it had literally like
Julie's, that with the little face in it.
Yeah, well, and this one had like, it came through the wall, and well, I had went to go pizza, and I came home, and you know, my husband is like bent over the side of the couch, and he's, did you drop a cigarette or something? And I'm like, I've been gone for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, no. And then I just knew that it was his mom. And so I turned on my camera and I just started filming. And this huge, beautiful golden orb comes through Darby's wall and, you know, goes right over him. And I just knew that it was his mom. You know, oh, there he is.
I'm back.
Hey.
They keep kicking me off, man. They keep trying to keep me off of here. They don't want me on here. That's for sure.
That's funny. Sherry was talking about how she had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 black choppers going by her house.
Yeah.
She's like wondering what she got herself into.
Yeah, I hadn't had that happen in a long time, Randy.
Yeah.
I knew what it was.
Yeah, that last photo. Oh, there's the Bobcat one. Yeah, they probably didn't see that, but
oh yeah,
really
real
cool.
quick, I told Randy, I said there on the video, y'all won't see that because it's a screenshot. This Bobcat does this thing where he like shuts his eyes and he holds them shut a minute and then he opens. And my daughter Darby's so into cats, and she said that they say "I love you" by closing their eyes real softly and keeping them shut a minute and then opening them back up. So I told Randy, I said that Bobcat was saying "I love you."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for people who don't know, I was literally standing about 15 feet away from this Bobcat in the Sonoran Desert. And normally they don't let you get 15 feet away from them. Let's put it that way. They would be, you know, out of there. They would not, you would never get that close to them usually. So the fact that he was just like sitting there on this rock for 5 minutes while I'm videotaping him, and he just could care less. Like he was just enjoyed it. And like, he wasn't all afraid of me because he knew I wasn't a predator at all, not going to hurt him or anything. But I've had all kinds of things with animals that really, you know, I had a quail. I picked up a quail, which, you know, anyone who's lived in the Sonoran Desert has never picked up a quail before. But I literally just reach down and pick up a quail, a live quail, and I have it on video on one of my videos. But yeah, there's something, animals can sense peaceful people. And they know that I'm full of peace. And like, I have had the wild javelina just walking right up to me. And I've touched, I don't know, maybe 12 javelina. You know, they have tusks on them. They're like wild boars, but they have 4 tusks. But I have no problem with them walking right up to me, and I touch them, wild ones, which people don't, you know, you don't hear those kind of stories very often. But yeah, so, you know, I've heard about stories about that years ago, about people who have this ability to like commune with animals somehow, you know, like, and I've literally experienced it in the real world. And it's just like the most amazing, bizarre thing that you can imagine. But when wild animals start showing you things, I've had a lizard. Oh, this is cool. This lizard, there's like this lizard that looks kind of like a scorpion. It has like this tail that looks kind of like a snake with lines on it, like a rattlesnake. So it's kind of to look like it's a mean thing, but it's not really. But I had one of these things run in between my legs, and he's like shaking his tail at me. Then he runs out, and he turns around about 10 feet out, looks at me, and then he comes back and does it again. Runs in between my legs, in between my feet, looks up at me, and then he runs back out, and then he turns around and looks at me. And I'm like, and my brother was standing right next to me. He saw this whole thing. He's like, what is going on? But like, yeah. And then after that, when that happened, the next day, I might see 1 or 2 lizards when I go for a walk, you know, for a 2-mile walk. The next day, I saw 30 lizards. They were just like coming out of their holes to come greet me. So I don't understand this, but like, there is no doubt, like, there's some kind of communication going on between animals too. Like, they can sense, like, hey, he's cool. It's okay. He can come in here. And then other people, like, no way. You know, that's like, you don't want to go around, you know, certain animals, a wild predator, if you're, you know, if you're not in the state where they can sense that, hey, you're a peaceful being.
Yeah.
But,
you know, to go along with what you're saying, I had went out meditating, and I had like a whole pack of deer come by me and just kind of looked over at me, and they could sense I was in this peaceful place meditating, you know. And, you know, normally they would scare off or whatever, and they just kind of noticed me and went about their way. They weren't fearful at all. And, you know, it made me feel good because I'd never experienced that. But I think we're maybe moving into an era like that, where if we become more peaceful and loving, we're going to have more of a better relationship with the animals. But right now, you know, so many people are trying to kill them and stuff that,
that's
they can sense that, I think.
I'm glad. I'm glad that y'all brought this up, because at my work, they have a real, like, it's outdoorsy. It's a addiction center, and they're out on the patio a lot and stuff. And they call me Snow White because the squirrels like come right up to my feet and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. and they tell about it at work, you know. And so I tried doing thing to them, like blinking, and I swear to God, y'all, I got one of them to do it sometimes. Just like that, it blinked slow like that. So I mean, and when we were up on Enchanted Rock on that mountain in Austin, there was a squirrel. It was a color I never saw. He was like black and with white specks, but it was shaped like a squirrel. And he was like right by my feet, and he's all like eating and everything. Like, he wasn't scared of me at all.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's just
had to be wild.
Yeah, they can definitely pick up on things that we can't sense. And my dog, that was another thing too. My dog, I would take her out with me. We'd go take photographs of thousands of orbs, and she would come with me. And like, there'd be times where she'd be up there looking, and like, I'd take a picture, and yeah, there'd be a bunch of orbs like right in front of her face where she's at. But you know, I don't know. I think some animals can see, especially cats, I think, have the ability to see the orbs sometimes, because I've noticed, and even my dog, actually the first time I took an orb photo that I took this photo, when I didn't know I was taking one, it happened a couple years before it was happened about 7 years ago, was with my dog. She was playing with a little a ball kind of thing, and sure enough, right where this ball was with this orb down there. So the orb was like playing ball, I guess, with her or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of a unusual thing. They like playing with animals too. They get a lot of.
We had an orb one time at our house that was like, it was literally kind of messing with the cat, because the cat would go by the food bowl and the orb would go there and the cat would run off, and then the orb would go, and then he would go back to the food bowl and the orb would go there. And I mean, I had it on video, but it was on an old phone, and I mean, it was like a really cool video. But you know, just like you said, I think there's all kind of different spirits that you know what I'm saying. I don't think it's necessarily a negative one, but it was messing with the cat for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Playing with
it was probably my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, that was kind of funny. One of the times I knew, one of the first times that I kind of really made a connection with the orbs, I was kind of playing a joke on them, and literally a whole bunch of them showed up to like let me know, like, hey, we want to check this out, you know. But it was like literally there was hardly any orbs that day. Then all of a sudden, thousands of them showed up to like, I was scratching my dog, and they just felt that was hilarious as anything. But yeah, literally like in a flash, like thousands of them showed up to check it out because I was scratching her back and my dog was doing one of those air scratches where they take one of their legs and they're like scratching in the air, and they just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. But so yeah, I don't know all the details, but they're definitely it was been an experience. The things that I've been through, it's like mainly a lot of highs, you know, not lows from any of this stuff, but just mainly just one high after another of other, just experiencing one thing after another. And kind of what got me into this stuff in the beginning was I started looking into the near-death experiences. Have you guys looked into that at all? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of an amazing thing, and because it started to open my mind up to this the spiritual realm, because I wasn't thinking that in the beginning. The very first, I'm thinking, you know, ETs. You know, that's kind of what I was thinking at the very first, because we're kind of programmed to think in that direction. But you know, over time, I kind of figured out how things work down here, and but it's amazing what's going on right now, because there's so many things taking place as far as like just major things happening, you know, all over the place. And like, I'm just one guy with one story, and my story's, you know, it's pretty good as far as like the things that have happened to me. It's like, there's very few people that have experienced something like this. And as far as like UFOs today, I mean, now 5 years later, it's like, I don't know, but I think I've captured more UFOs than anyone else on Earth today, to be honest with you, on camera, not on video as much, but on camera for sure. And, you know, that's just mind blowing to know that, you know, literally there's thousands of them here. Not, you know, I used to think like, oh, wow, maybe one would come to Earth today, you know, years ago, you know, not thinking that there's thousands of them around and here today, you know, right now. So that's where I'm at today, where I literally believe these UFOs are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know the orbs are, because I've literally taken photos of them every single hour of the day, 24 hours in a day. So I know that's what in the beginning, I was like testing them to find out, okay, well, how are they here just certain times of the day or what? And, you know, I found out over time that like they are here 24 hours a day. And when I found that out, that was kind of weird too, because I realized like, hey, I don't have any privacy anymore. Like
I
literally
telling that story on video, like I got used to like taking a bath and everything, because I know that
yeah, in the beginning it was like, it was like, wow, I kind of feel uncomfortable taking my clothes off, knowing that who knows how many beings are right here with me. I know they're here, and it's just like, that was weird. But once I got over that, then it was just kind of like, you kind of realize, like, I feel like, I don't know if you saw the show Truman Show with Jim Carrey, but I kind of feel like him. Like for the last 5 years, I've known that there's not been 1 second where I've been alone, where there are beings on the other side watching me. So it's like, that's kind of a freaky thing at first, but then you get used to it. And, you know, most people don't think about that. But when, you know, you take photos of literally right now, about 1 million orbs is what I've captured on camera. Close to it. I don't know exactly, but I'm just kind of ballparking it. But somewhere in that vicinity, you kind of get a little different perspective on life, you know, when you know without question that this whole world exists, and you don't have to be told from someone else, like, you know, you're there. That's where I'm at. So it is kind of good, because I have certainty. For 5 years, I've not been living in uncertainty. For 5 years, I have been certain about things. And by the way, like, it's like, I know things like that fire thing. Like, I just knew. And by the way, what I didn't tell you about that was, Like I grew up in like 5 different houses. It burned all the way around all those houses. It burned my high school all the way around the high school that I went to high school, right to the fences. The hotel I stayed in didn't burn to the ground because the firemen got there. All of the trees that were 50 feet tall around the whole hotel burned to the ground. If I would have been there at that time, I would have been stuck and I would not have been able to get out of it. I actually might have been dead. Who knows? Because, you know, a lot of people died in that. But yeah, like I knew that thing was coming. I didn't know when, but I knew it was coming to that area. And I told my girlfriend about it. And like, I was shocked 2 months later when it happened. And so that was just freaky. Like, how do you know that? But like, literally, I think this stuff is like known, like it's a, you know, like things in the future are known now. And like some people pick up on that somehow. And I picked up on that, and I've done it before too. Several months ago, we was in Tempe, Arizona, and I was seeing the Uber cars, the driverless cars driving around. And I'm like, what's going on? There's no one driving that car, you know? And I'm like, there's no way. I thought there is absolutely no way that this is happening. And I said, man, someone's going to die from this. And sure enough, 10 hours later, a gal got ran over by one of those Uber driverless cars in Tempe, Arizona, where I was at. Literally, I don't know, a mile away, 2 miles away, could not have been more than 5 miles away from where I told her that. 10 hours later, a girl was killed. And guess what? Uber literally took the cars out of here. So they literally closed up shop, and no more Uber driverless cars here in Arizona ever since that day. So I know it's very real. And like when people get some kind of premonition about, hey, I think this is going to happen in the future or something, like sometimes you should kind of like, you know, take that a little seriously. And if it's something you can prepare for or whatever, maybe you should do a little bit of preparing, because I believe we all have that ability. And I know we have abilities, just like with the hand stuff. Like, see this light here? Like, I can feel this on my hand right now. Like when I do that, I literally can feel that. And I can feel it from across the room too, by the way. So like we all have that ability. We all have the ability to sense things that we don't even know about yet, but until you try it one time. But next time, try one of these LED lights and put it on your hand now that you're aware of this. Literally just put it on your hand and you move that around, and notice if you don't feel it moving on your hand over here. Every one of us has that ability because we have a spirit body inside us that can sense light. We're of light. So at this point, I'm not sure that there's any difference between the light that comes out of a light bulb and like supernatural type stuff light. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if there's any difference. Like light could be like water is water. Maybe light is light. And the light that comes from God could be the same thing that comes out of a light bulb. I'm not 100% sure, but would not shock me at all to find that out. But I just know light is definitely important in our life, and that's where we come from.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question for you. I was just wondering, I just have a question. Do you ever look at people and then see like a blue flash, like by their head, like it looks like a Christmas light that's blue, blink on and blink off really fast? Have you ever seen that?
No, not that. Haven't experienced that, not yet.
Oh, I was just wondering if that was something that you'd seen. I'm sure. I feel like it's showing me that there's angels around people. That's just what I feel like, you know. And I had actually had Robert Wagner, he's a lucid dreaming guy, tell me to ask the dream about it, and that was the answer that I got, that it was like blue angels was what I got.
Oh,
so
okay. I have taken pictures of like little blue beings. I don't know what they were, but I've taken like 2 different ones. I think they're like little beings that are blue skin kind of thing.
I think it's so interesting how you get the different colors, and it just makes me wonder, because like the only ones that I see are blue and white, and then the other day I saw a peach one in the bathroom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just now, while I've been sitting here talking to you, I saw a small one that was probably about 4 inches in diameter, and it was like the orange color like you had on there. I never seen that color before ever here. So who knows?
Yeah, actually, before we went on tonight, I was talking to Sherry, and she was setting her camera up or whatever, and I saw a little white orb.
Oh,
right
really?
Around her.
Yeah. So, that's funny. Yeah, I see little things like that all the time, and like I don't tell people about it all the time either. But But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. But like, yeah, I walk into a room and like there's so many things that I pick up on and can sense, and like just talking to someone, a lot of times I'll pick up on stuff. But yeah, that's one of them. Is just there's lights everywhere, and like if you look off to the side, they'll usually be off to the sides in your peripheral view. You can't. It's really hard to see them in front. Although that's where I see them when I see the orbs from the flash. When the flash goes off, that's where I see them. But yeah, in the side is where you're usually going to see them. If you're going to see them, you'll see like a little flash, like, wow, what was that? Yep. But yeah, I'll see that every once in a while, and it's just like so bizarre. You'll be in a dark room, and all of a sudden you'll see this little an orb just like come through the wall, and it'll be bright, and I'll just see it just for like, you know, just like a second or so, and like it'll go maybe 10 inches or something like that. But it's like I saw that thing travel 10 inches, and then it just kind of goes into another dimension or something, or into the infrared light spectrum that you can't see it again. But yeah, I think they're like powering up or something. That's what I thought, is that literally for whatever reason, sometimes they turn up the energy and get really super bright, and the ones that turn white are, I believe, the most powerful orbs out there. So like there's all different kinds of colors, but the ones that have the most energy are the white ones. They're the ones that can just light up. And when they do, they have like this corona around them. Like it'll be orange on the top and like purple on the bottom. So you'll, on the, like the polar opposites, like they have an orange aura kind of at the top here and a purple one on the opposite end of the orb. And it's really bizarre to see that, but that's when you know, like, wow, a lot of power went through that orb. And I don't understand that, how that works or what. I thought maybe it was some kind of a hierarchy thing. Like there's some orbs that are just more powerful or more connected somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but then, you know, I have photos of like orbs where one orb went flying across my patio and it left like orb footprints across the sky in one photo, like 80 of them, 80. So literally 80 orbs. In fact, they weren't like this. It was like they were together, like a Vesica Pisces. Mm-hmm. They were literally like together like this. And so,
like a chain of them.
Yeah, a chain of them, but like they were like halfway. So you have one here, and then another half over would be another one, another half over would be another one. They weren't like going, you would think it would be like one right next to each other and then another one right next to each, but they weren't. They were like kind of half in the other one, which is weird. But they were changing colors. One would be purple, then the next one would be blue, and the next one would be yellow. And the next one would be, you know, maybe green or something, and then they would change colors back to another color. But that's the weird part, was it was changing colors, and I thought maybe that has something to do with it moving. Like as it's moving along, it might change colors to, you know, to propel it forward. It has to go to blue, green, purple, pink, whatever, you know, to get through the spectrum. I don't know, but I was thinking that might be something. But why else would it do that unless to put on a light show or something? Maybe, I don't know.
That's amazing, though, man.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, in the one footage of the video you just showed, it looked like an angel was flying around the room, and it was casting a shadow on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Was that visible with the naked eye, or just?
No, that was not. So that's one of those things. Amazing. Like I've had them too. I've had like a V-shaped one come through here, like a V-shaped kind of little tiny craft about like this wide, and a V-shaped thing. And no, I couldn't see it, but it also left a shadow on the wall as well. So, yeah, I don't understand what the deal is. You know what I think it is? I think what it is that they've got so much light that they are blocking out the light. So it's not like that they're a solid object. I think they're still etheric. They're still in, you know, non-physical beings. But I think they have so much light because they're always pure white. And when they're that pure white, it literally is enough to block the light out, I believe is what it is. So orbs can't do that. I don't recall seeing one orb that can do that. No, they're translucent. So I've never seen an orb do it. It's only been these other weird looking elemental beings or some of these things don't look like beings. They look more like objects, you know. So I call them like interdimensional objects, flying objects. But so I don't know, but whatever they are, some of them can actually block the light out.
Darby, my daughter, has this in her room in the closet. It's this little orb. It looks like it almost looks like it has the wings. It's like a fairy. I've filmed it before, but it comes out of her closet and hangs out in her room and always goes back in the closet. It looks like a fairy. I don't know. But my daughter's so positive and everything, and the orb blood. But there was something I wanted to tell you really quick, and that was that one night I was laying in bed, and I had okay, so I'm laying in bed and the window's to the right and the hall wall is to the left, and like 15 orbs came in like on each side, and they met in the middle, like right over my body, and then they like flew, and they went through the wall above my head, but while I'm laying there, I could hear it sounded like happy people talking in a restaurant.
Oh, really?
And as it went through the wall, there was one at the back coming. It was, I say he because it sounded like this fat man that was satisfied and just ate dinner, and he's like,
oh, really? That's funny.
It was like they came in so fast, though, and just merged like they were on some orb highway or something that was going right through my house.
Yeah, that's another thing too, that like I've never, in the last 5 years, I haven't really been haunted. You know, I mean, I did have one attack where I had I think it was a giant attacked me and literally like sat on top of me kind of thing. But like I've not been haunted. I don't hear voices. Never do any other beings from the other side like come and like talking to my ear. If they do, I certainly can't hear it. So that's one good thing I've actually enjoyed, because man, I wouldn't like that. I don't think having other people like talk to you, you know, that kind of thing, that would kind of be a little bit too much, I think. So that's, for me, it's been awesome, because like I never got into the EVP stuff, because I have friends of mine that have, and like, man, they're always end up talking to something really dark, you know? And it's like, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then they always, you know, sometimes they start saying stuff that's dark, you know, back to you, and like, wow, you know what? I'm just going to stick away. I'm not going to have anything to do with it. So I stayed away from that. I never meditated. And when this first happened, like 5 years ago, again, I was just like, wow, I can do things that I know no one else can do. Like the first time I hooked up someone and like, wow, they're able to do orbs. I was like, wow, okay.
Oh,
and then it happened again.
Tell about.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, when this first happened 5 years ago, I got my body healed. And literally, I was like downloaded information. I don't understand how this happened, but I was literally like shown the future, what was going to happen in my life. And it happened, you know, things happened. And one of the things was, what was I going to say? What was I talking about there? I forget where I was going with that. What was I talking about there? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So basically, I activated my brother, was the very first person. Then I activated a friend of mine, and then I just started activating more and more people. And then all of a sudden, before long, it was dozens of people. And every single one of these, 100% of them, from that moment, were able to take orb photos. So they touched my hand. I literally would stick my hand out and literally could connect them by touching my hand, and they could take a camera and take a picture. And even though they've never taken an orb before, boom, orbs start showing up. And I've done that with people where we were at a hotel or something. Like I was at a seminar, and I had a bunch of people that wanted me to connect them at the seminar. And so I'm like, well, normally I do this at nighttime, and like we take pictures of orb, but okay, I'll hook you up right now. And literally I just did it. We touched, you know, hands, and I literally sent the energy. This person went home back to Chicago and 3 weeks later bought a camera. 3 weeks later goes into her backyard, takes her very first orb photo. 3 weeks later, it was like 50 orbs waiting for her. So she was 100% like just blown away because she had no idea that home. But so I've seen that happen a few times. But yeah, I've literally got 100% success rate. Not every single person that's touched my hand like that has, from that moment on, could take orb photos, and has been able to take them for everyone that I've kept in contact with. So that was kind of a unique thing that happened. But yeah, so, you know, who knows what else is possible, to be honest with you. I just know the supernatural is real.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. Well, do you have anything coming up that you want to promote or anything, Randy?
Just, you know, my channel, goforitRANDY, is really the only thing I promote. I have over 100 videos that have interdimensional beings on them, and all kinds of different stuff. And, you know, if anything that I'm on there, I'm a guy who is a very honest guy, and I'm just going to tell it like it is. And because of, you know, my experience and my life, I actually know people that are, you know, I know like the top UFO people. I know a lot. I've met a lot of these people. And then there's a lot of other people that I know. So like I know the orbs and the UFOs and that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? People that know other stuff know me. They contact me and tell me about what they know. So I've actually had an awesome time for a long time, for a decade now, getting feedback from other people who are experts in other fields. So that's kind of helped me. They've led me to other places and kind of helped me to get a little bit further along. But so I share videos with people that are honest, and this is it. And I don't like to talk. I'm not a guy who likes to sit here and talk. I'm a guy who likes to sit here and show you. Here, take a look at this photo, take a look at this video, and see what you think. And, you know, it's real, and you can clearly see that's real. And, you know, test it all you want. 6 ways to Sunday, that's real. So what you're seeing on camera is real. And, you know, if you want to see something that you've probably never seen, stop by my channel, because there's several things that I've got on camera that I've never seen. Well, like the elongated orbs. I don't know of anyone else that's even gotten elongated orbs like the ones I get, like above your car kind of thing. I've never seen anyone else take photos like that, to be honest with you, yet. So you're going to find a lot of stuff. So keep stopping by my channel. If you subscribe to my channel, Go For It Randy. But you might get kicked off of there because they're doing their best to try and keep people from seeing my videos. But yeah, just keep coming back to my channel at Go For It Randy, and check out any new stuff that you're interested in, and you're going to find some stuff that's going to blow your mind. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, well, I definitely have your link below, and I would recommend anybody go over there and check it out. I was binge watching a bunch of stuff and very captivated by what you've been able to capture, and I just wanted to share you with my audience so they can check it out, because it's some amazing stuff. And I'm so thankful Sherry introduced me to you, and it's been a real pleasure and an honor to have you on, Randy.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's been a pleasure being here. I hope everyone got a little something out of this that they can take home with them and kind of feel like, hey, their time was well invested here.
Thank you,
Sure.
Randy. And
Well,
y'all have to go. Y'all got to go sub him and keep up to date on everything he's doing.
Definitely.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, and if you have something else going on, we'll have you back in the future. And
Yeah.
'cause
Well,
you've
there's
got
always
stuff
something
going on, right?
Yeah, there's always something. So yeah, you just check back in every once in a while. I'll tell you what's new.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's been a real pleasure.
Awesome. I hope everyone has an awesome night, and look forward to everyone stopping by and checking out some of my videos, some of my other ones.
Lots of love and light to everybody in the chat, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye,
Okay.
Randy. Bye,
God bless.
everybody. Love y'all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.